So, welcome to Authors Radio, amplifying voices, inspiring the world. I'm your host, Alba Mireles, and I'm delightfully excited to welcome today's guest, Emmett Glasbrenner, the author of the book The Mental Detox: How to Declutter Your Mind, Release Your Toxic Thoughts, and Reclaim Your Mindset. We're here to celebrate your creativity and explore the world you crafted in this book, Emmett. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity and just to bring my baby out. So thank you.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about who is Emmett and what led you to write this mental detox book?
Absolutely. So I am a licensed master social worker. I'm a therapist in Texas. I got my master's and my license last year. So I've been in the mental health field for close to 3 to 4 years now. Uh, it took me about 5 years from leaving the military, medically retire, going through school, and my transition to get this book to where it's at. And a lot of time it was simply having the limiting belief in myself or trying to make it perfect. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And in your book, you draw on your experience as a war veteran, a trauma survivor. How did those shape your approach to mental clutter and healing?
Well, yeah. So for me, it was all about when I was going through my transition, I had to make the decision. Well, actually, my wife made me make the decision to get therapy because, of course, I thought I was fine. Until everything was fine. I didn't need any help. But the reality, I did need a help and I needed structure. And at the end of the day, I went through therapy, and what I got is one the understanding that I am capable of healing. That it is me that have to heal. Therapists and everybody in your life can give you tools, but that decision is yours. And I had to make that decision, and when I did, then I had to put things in that proper perspective, make sure I can handle things differently, because not everything is a priority. And that's
Yeah.
what the detox is. You clear the clutter, you focus on what matters, and then you take back your time so you can actually focus on things that matters.
Yeah, and the book emphasized that it's not about perfection, it's creating like a space for peace. And how do you help people embrace progress over perfection?
So we celebrate the little wins, right? We celebrate the little wins. We track how well they're doing. We track events. We track trigger points. So one of the things I do really well is finding trigger points and let help my clients identify that trigger points. And then I remember those and I keep them there. So every time we talk, I bring it back. Hey, did you endure? Did you actually encounter this? The idea is for us to see the small wins in each event. So if it,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead. Like you describe our minds often overloaded, right?
yeah,
What does mental clutter look like in real life, and why it's important to tackle it early?
yeah. So it looks like not being able to sleep at night because you're on your phone. Now you have a do list that never finish. Everything is on the list, but nothing is important. You're concerned about the world peace. You're concerned about the president. You're concerned about everything, including what matters to you. But when you're concerned about everything, then nothing has perspective and nothing is prioritized. And what we need to do is tackle what is going to affect us immediately in our immediate circle, or like we call it your personal space, right? What can you control? What can you clear out in your personal space where you have that determining factor? Like, okay, this is my space. I don't have to worry about the world today. I don't have to worry about everything outside of my home, my life, those kind of ways. That's what we got to do. And you tackle what keeps you up. The first thing is you tackle what is going to keep you up at night.
Okay. And you introduce thought dumps and mental inventories. How these practices work and why are they effective?
But so the mental inventory just allows you to put things in priority hierarchy. What's important and
Okay.
what's not. Right? If it's number 10 on the list, I'm probably not going to worry about it, or I shouldn't worry about it. And it also allows us to create boundaries. Because if it's number 10 on my list, but somehow it's number one on your list, many times when we don't create clear boundaries and we don't prioritize things, all of a sudden your number one becomes my number one. Now, whatever I had between five and not one and nine, I already forgot it because now your priority. So I have to be able to be confident enough to tell you, I'm sorry, it's not on the list of my top five things today. Maybe we can focus on that a time. Maybe I can give you 5 minutes to just see how we can break it down and make it manageable for you, but it's not going to be something I'm focusing on today.
Okay, that sounds perfect. And how does your method differ from traditional advice like mindfulness and journaling or physical decluttering? Like, why it's different?
Well, so it all works together, right? When you're journaling, you can use journaling as a form of declutter because in the book I talk about writing it down.
Okay.
You write down what you're prioritizing. Okay. Physical decluttering can clear your mind because a lot of time your physical environment does affect your mental environment. So if your space is not your space and don't seem like if things are not where it needs to be because it's not where you put it, and you have to look for things, it can keep you running around in circle looking for things, which it's just a big waste of time when your physical space doesn't matches your mental space. Now that could be different for everybody, right? I like I'm used to control chaos. Things are everywhere, but it's my chaos. So I know where the paper that somebody gave me 3 weeks ago is. This probably is in one of my folder with the other six things I put there. I would find it, but it's my clutter and it's my focus. But because I put it in the proper place.
Okay. And how does reclaiming mental space impact everyday decision making, like productivity or mental well being? How does impact this, like taking this decision?
Well, it make you be more decisive in your actions. Because if it's not on the list, it's not going to be talked about. We're not going to deal with it. If it's
Yeah.
not going to if not going to move the needle forward to my goals, even for just for today, then we're going to have to forget about it. And it allows me when I go to sleep, my mind is clear because I know the objective I had for today, I accomplish it. It don't have to be perfect, but I move forward. And what it does, it helps us to not be so focused in the past. It helps eliminate and prevent depression because depression we focus on things in the past, regrets of the past. But when you have things in the proper perspective and in that proper space, and you're prioritizing for you, not for everybody, right? Like I like to give the example, like the bank might need that money today, but if your child is going to the emergency room, but everything is emergency at this time, but you have to choose what is your top priority, what is your non-negotiable. My family is non-negotiable, so the bank might have to wait today.
Okay. And you share relatable stories from own healing journey. Was there
Absolutely.
a breakthrough moment during your mental detox process?
Yeah, absolutely. It was when I was going through my intensive outpatient. I had a 30 days of just every day I was in. I go there, and that's what we do. I had a group, and one of the things I had to learn was understanding whole grounding techniques. What is grounding? Because when I came from my deployment in Afghanistan, I was saying enemies everywhere. I was so anxious. I couldn't focus. My head was everywhere. I didn't even want to go out. I didn't want to go to I go to Walmart at night when nobody is there, and it was like I'm racing for something for some reason. And going through the process, I was taught that instead of trying to focus on everything, focus on one thing that matters. And since I spent most of my time with my family when I was in the military, when I wasn't training, my counselor suggested just focus on your kids. Don't worry about anything around you. Just watch them. And that's how I started. So when I go out, I made the decision I'm just going to watch the kids. The good news for me, they give me plenty of things to do because they're everywhere. So instead of me looking at everybody seeing enemies everywhere, I was just looking at my kids. Over time, eventually, we were able to go in places, with more crowds over time. Now I can do it just fine. I still got to stay away from the windows and see all the exit, but I can enjoy my time with my family. I can take the kids out and not have to worry about a thousand different things. And I can live in the moment a little bit more.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's the most surprising insight or change your readers report after trying your methods? Like,
So I think it surprised all of them, but not me. It, it's a continuation process. Once you do it, you don't just stop. Not everything is fixed. This is the kind of and process that you repeat, but it gets easier over time because this gives you the foundation. The book gives you the foundation. Once you got the foundation, then you get to pick and choose where you suffer the most. See, because not you don't have to go through the detox every day. Because by the time you go through the 30-day journaling, you already know where you're going to have the biggest problem. You're going to know area where it's going to have an increased stress and anxiety. So before you go to those places or those events, you are going to properly plan exit strategy, coping mechanism. You're going to identify your trigger points. Okay, I go to the family reunion. I know my grandma is going to start something. My mom is going to start talking about my image, my body, my this. So I'm going to avoid that conversation with her. I'm going to I'm going to have clear boundary, respect for boundary. The minute she starts, I'm going to tell her we're not talking about my body today. If you can be positive, we're going to have to end the conversation. So you start to get this confidence where your boundaries become something that actually protects the other person because if they keep pushing you might lash out and it can destroy relationships. So then people are very surprised that, I like to tell people healing is not linear. You don't just start from A and you get to Z and you're done. Sometimes you get to E and you have to go back to A. But it's easier when you start again because you already been through that route. The path is already a little bit more clear and the obstacles are a little bit more. You can see it a little better. And that
okay,
surprised people.
yeah, it's like a process, right? It's a process, and we can fail. We're not perfect. And now, talking to you as an author, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face as an author, and how have you overcome them?
So one of the biggest and is that idea of professionalism, right? Trying to make everything perfect, trying to have everything in my head. It's like I go to school, I got all this knowledge, but then I want to do it all on my own. That's why it took me so long. There is tools available, right? Use the tools. You don't have to do it all on your own. Ask for help. That's the biggest challenge is actually getting out of your own way, taking that leap, publishing the book. Let it be out there. Let people see it. Take the criticism, take the critiques, because my next book is going to be better. I'm going to be more prepared. I'm going to have a lot more vision. I'm going to, it's going to be a better book, but it's going to be better than this one, but it's not going to be as good as my third one. So that is one of the challenge is to get out of my own way, get out of my own head, and just lay out the vision of what I want my audience, my supporters, and my readers to get. That's the focus, not me. So yeah.
And for aspiring authors in our audience, what's one piece of advice you will offer them on their writing journey?
Write what you know, write what you love. Because the book is great, but I can talk about healing mental health. I can do that in my sleep because I that's what I love to do, and that's who I'm a servant leader. So service and impacting people, that's what I am. So I write about what I know, I write about what I love. So I never have to second guess what I have to. So my one advice is write what you know, even if it's a 5 chapter book, it's gonna be the best 5 chapter because it's coming from you, and it's coming from a place of interest and a place of like just desire. That write what you know and enjoy the
Okay.
process.
And are you currently working on any books or any projects right now?
Yes, yes. So I'm working on my second book called 2 Years to Thrive. This book again is coming from my experience of going through my military transition during COVID.
Okay.
And when I started writing the book, it was focused on military people. But as I got towards the end and I'm going back and reviewing, I realized anybody can use the steps because the focus is to be prepared and be aware of the challenges when you're making changes, big or small. I had to transition out of a whole life I knew since 2009. When I started my military career, in college, I was 19 years old. By the time I left, I had three kids, a family, a mortgage, and every other problem that come, including physical problem. But the important thing is learning to plan with their 2 years to thrive allows you to be better prepared and allows the obstacles that's going to come to be more manageable. Instead of being something that cripple you, it's just a bump. And it's a logical step because and so it's come from my failure and my success during my transition. So that's the next project I'm working on, and I'm working on my community. I'm building a Facebook group to do. I will be doing weekly group and conversation. We'll be learning, talking, and just growing as a community. So we have people to talk to. So every week, midday, either Wednesday or Thursday, the people in the group are going to come online, and we're going to do I call it mental check-in. I want to ask you, how are you doing? How was your week? What issue and concern are you having today? How can we as a community help you? We do that every week. That's the two projects that I was working on right now.
That's awesome. And where the listeners can find your Facebook group, your book, connect with you, or learn about like everything that you talk about.
So I am, of course, on all the major platform. They call Mental Health Mastery with Emmett on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. The book, so the Mental Detox is available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes and Noble, and every major bookstores is there. And you can find it there. When the 2 Years to Thrive comes on, it will be the same path. By the time the next book comes out, the community is going to be just going great. We are going to be, it's going to be something we read about. We're going to be something we talk about because I want to see people win. And that's the joy. So, anywhere on Facebook, I post weekly on my social media. I do lives once a week. I will go for an hour. Now, I always have like a plan, but the plan is a placeholder because the minute somebody comes in and need my help and they need a place, a platform to listen, everything just goes out the window and I just listen.
Yeah, that's awesome. An open field for you if you want to speak. Emmett, it has been like a pleasure to me
Thank
having
you.
you in Authors Radio. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into your work and sharing your passion. And listeners, be sure to check his book. Thank you for tuning in to Authors Radio, amplifying voices, inspiring the world. Join me next time for another inspiring conversation. In the meantime, happy listening.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and the platform you're giving me. Everybody, just feel free to check out my links and you will be
Thank you.